welcome to the Bill and Kelly Show. Absent Kelly, as a lot of you know, Kelly is vacationing down in beautiful Florida. Actually, she's going to be on a cruise ship here, so we really feel sorry for Kelly, don't we? We have a special guest with us today. It is Gabe Mauch. He is the one of the owners at Grindhouse.
One of the two owners, yeah.
In Griffith. Awesome place, and we thought we'd invite him on the show and have him share with us how he started and what some of the things are going on at Grindhouse, and talk about coffee in general.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're born, where you went to school, and that type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I was born and raised in Griffith. So I went to high school in Griffith, elementary school. Dropped out of 2 or 3 colleges along the way, but went to culinary school eventually. Kind of like bounced around through different colleges and then never really knew what I wanted to do. But like the only thing I kept doing throughout that was cooking and making beverages. And so then it just dawned on me, like, why don't I just do this thing I'm good at? Why don't I just do this thing I love? And so, again, culinary school happened in 2004. My sister and I both went. And after that, kind of like both her and I like made a plan. Like, all right, let's everything we do, let's do it to like work towards having a cafe. So we did it. So after culinary school, I did my internship in the Three Floyds kitchen, and then worked my way up to head chef.
Oh wow!
I was a head chef there through 2008 or into 2008, and then left there, bounced around in a few coffee shops, just learning as much as I could.
Yeah, Three Floyds, they're kind of noted for their kitchen.
Yeah, we won like a culinary competition up in Chicago while I was there.
Awesome.
So now I get to tell everybody I'm an award-winning chef.
Well, great, and serve great coffee too.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to get to that in just a bit. So this is kind of a plan that you and your sister had all going through school, and you decided, we just got to do this, and it just pieces started falling together. And one of the things that I think people who have gone to Grindhouse appreciates, probably from your culinary background, is the awesome sandwiches. The breakfast is awesome. The sandwiches are great, and it seems like you've matched your food with the coffees you serve, or that is something that you would have with the coffee.
Yeah, so a lot of places have like really good coffee and then they kind of like phone in the food, or they have like really good food and they phone in the coffee. And so we like wanted to have like great coffee paired with great food. We've got an in-house pastry chef, who bakes every day. We like really take both of those things really seriously.
And those cookies are awesome, by the way.
They're the best, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, she bakes them like 3 or 4 times a day, so.
Yeah, when I go in there for breakfast, I look at those chocolate chunk cookies and I'm like, I gotta wait, this is breakfast. But then, one day I said, the heck with it. My mom's not here, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, no moms.
There
are no moms at Grindhouse. Even when there's moms there, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. We could adult anytime at Grindhouse.
That's right.
That's cool. So that is something I didn't know. You went to culinary school, so that explains a lot of things that are happening at Grindhouse.
Yeah.
So talk us about a little about your coffee selection, what type of coffees you have, and some of the different brands that you handle.
Yeah, our main coffee supplier is Metropolis. They're based out of Chicago. All of our coffee is local. There's one roaster we use from North Carolina, but other than that, it's all Chicago or Northwest Indiana. But Metropolis, I've known those guys 12 years or so, just through the coffee scene, going to coffee shops in Chicago, and then I served them at a coffee shop I worked at in Valpo. But they've been really good to us, so we've tried to be good to them, just try to be the best ambassadors to their coffee as possible. We also carry Dark Matter, coffee company out of Chicago. They do a lot of really weird experimental stuff, which we really like. We like to keep it weird. But and then there's also Smugglers, Small Town, and Dagger Mountain that we all get in Northwest Indiana.
Right. And we know the ladies from Small Town, they're awesome. They're right here in Highland. That's what, when I tell people about Small Town, they don't realize there's a roaster here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're out of the windmill, but they're plans down the road.
Yeah.
Get their own place, but so you handle local coffee from Chicago. I had to crack up Dark Matter. Came out with a coffee. I can't Yeah, I can't mention it right now, but
Yeah.
I want to get a couple of bags to send to people who are late for work, like when they don't get up on time.
Yeah,
You know which one I'm talking about?
I know the coffee you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I get the out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So,
Those guys are wild.
Oh yeah. And actually, they're in a commercial, right? They do a commercial for.
Yeah, he's in a Honda Civic commercial. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Just watching the Blackhawks game 2 years ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been at that guy's house.
Yeah. They do have kind of eclectic offerings. Some different things, and we're starting to see them more and more, and
that's kind of one of the things that's cool about just life in 2018 is that you can be a weirdo like me and Dark Matter and Sip here and have a business, you can have a cool business. Like, it's not, it's much less homogenized than it was 20 years ago. And so there's space for people to let their personalities show through in their business.
Yeah, and that's something I gotta say, Kelly and I appreciate about Grindhouse. We love it because you have the Chamber of Commerce coffee get together there, and I show up also at it's not the only time I go, but I show up quite often there every Sunday and get something, and that's something. It's unique, with the way things are, the bling that you have and everything.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to talk to you about, because I noticed the change in your logo that you're using recently, or maybe just the Facebook thing or not. But you used to have the Grindhouse, the coffee grinder, and now there's kind of like the state emblem with grind.
So there's just a few logos that we just bouncing back and forth through. The grinder logo is like our main logo.
All right.
But yeah, the Indiana flag one, we actually just came out with new growlers with the Indiana flag on it.
Oh, cool.
But instead of Indiana, it says Grindhouse, and then it's got like a coffee mug in the middle of it. I'm one of those people that loves Indiana for some reason. I've got the Indiana flag tattooed on my arm.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're really proud to be from Indiana. I think we get a lot of people that come down from Chicago, and so we try to be like good ambassadors to the Hoosier state.
Yeah, and there's a lot of neat things, now that I see that this area used to be so, back when I was, in my 20s and 30s, was so heavily weighed on everything the mills did.
Yeah.
But you see after the, the shutdowns, the strikes and everything of the 80s and the 90s, people starting to decentralize from, you see all these unique businesses, people opening up restaurants, opening up coffee shops, and breweries. Oh my gosh.
And I think the breweries is like one of the booms that I think really started kicking off things in Northwest Indiana. Obviously, Three Floyds, put Munster on the nation map.
Right.
And like being a part of that 2005 to 2008, when I would go to the grocery store with my like chef pants and chef coat on, and people would say, "Oh, where do you work?" And I say, "Oh, Three Floyds." And they say, "Oh, never heard of it." And then, I would come back to the restaurant, and there would be somebody that just drove from Pennsylvania to get Behemoth barley wine or something. And, so it's like all these people all over knew what it was, but not here in Northwest Indiana. But, I think Northwest Indiana has kind of, made a name for itself with beer.
Yeah, and The interesting thing, though, it seems like the beer industry is you don't want to be too big. It seems like all the small guys are really flourishing right now, and the bigger you are, it's like turning a ship.
Totally,
your beer offerings tend to be you can't do the unique things that you want because you have this huge facility, and that's what I absolutely love about the breweries in the area. You can walk in and it's art at its best. It's they have a stout with particularly around the holidays. And at first when the pumpkin beers came out, I was totally not. But after a while, that people started perfecting them.
Yeah, I can't say I love those.
But
I'll do the pumpkin coffee, but I don't do the pumpkin beer.
I was the same way, except a Byway has an awesome pumpkin, real awesome. And I was the same way. I never thought, but the whole idea is they perfected that and started mashing it, and you just end up with this true art form in the small breweries. And I don't know. I have myself hard time going back to a mass production beer. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
every once in a while, like a Stroh's is nice. But yeah, for the most part, like
And
I'll
if
go to
you're
New
a millennial, PBR.
PBR. I just went to a music festival a few weeks ago, sponsored by PBR. So
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I had no PBR at that music festival.
Which, Mike Waddy, who's a friend of both of ours, I brought that up with him. I said, what is with this PBR? Is it just these? Oh, no, it is, from a technical standpoint, it is one of the better produced beers.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, PBR, like I said, I really enjoy Stroh's. It's like, as far as like, you're looking at like Miller, Budweiser, all that stuff, Coors, whatever, like, you're gonna get a decent beer with PBR.
Yeah.
Or Hams. I like Hams or Stroh's. But
I heard Ham's making a comeback.
Hams is making a comeback. I love that this is what this conversation has turned into. If you're just talking about Hams and Stroh's.
If you ever watch one of our shows, we are totally unscripted, and that people seem to like it. In fact, I was sitting next to some people at Wild Rose last night doing a show from there, and it was like, I think we covered 150 topics within 15 minutes.
Nice. So you're saying that's a challenge?
No, it's like, it's just whatever we talk about, and that's the whole premise that we just try to, it's like sing down,
have a real show.
Yeah, and here's Kelly bragging about her. Kelly's bragging about her Fort Lauderdale. She's about to board the ship.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you guys, please send her your condolences about her. She's having a tough time. She's boarding a cruise ship.
Life is hard.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for her. Yeah, when she first got there, it was like 56-degree weather, but now it's gotten where it should be. Yeah, so people keep on asking, why aren't you going with her? She's a travel agent, so I mean, that's her. She traveled.
Yeah.
She's been to 29 countries.
That's insane.
Yeah, and she's been to every state with the exception of one, and that's Alaska. And her and I are actually, because I've never been either, so we're going to be going next
My brother
year.
and his wife went a few years ago and just loved it. We're hoping to take a family trip to Alaska.
Yeah, it is. The pictures, videos I've seen. I mean, people have not professional videos, but people have brought back. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's awesome. So we can't wait for that. But and that's where I see. Getting back to what we came here, we're talking about coffee, and now we're talking about beer.
I thought we were here to talk about Stroh's.
Yeah, Stroh's. So Hams and Stroh's. And when I was in college, pretty much we went to the 7-Eleven and picked out whichever was the cheapest. Because I mean, when you're going to college, you really have to. But we kind of still, even though they were cheap, we stayed away from those. The Hams, and
because it's what your dad drank.
Yeah, it was the dad's beer. Yeah,
I just want to feel like a dad from the 50s is all I want. I want to drink Manhattans and gin and tonics. And
now, there you go.
And then I want to drink Hams.
Yeah. Oh, talking about Manhattans, have you been to 18th Street's distillery?
I've not yet, no.
Oh, you've got to go.
I've heard the cocktails are delightful.
And that's another thing. It absolutely amazed me while we're talking about these smaller breweries. Here, this is a small brewery decided that they're going to open up a distillery.
Yeah.
And I was okay, that's going to be a couple of years, judging how long it takes. Within 6 months, they've got the bar set up, they've got the distillery set up, and they're in production.
Drew does not mess around.
Oh man, he does not.
No.
I mean, and I totally, when they're in Miller. Oh man, and that's another thing. Oh boy, their food was great, their brunch was great, and their beers were wow. And but you've got to make it over there because I'm a bourbon fan,
Me
and a whiskey fan, and their whiskey is off the hook. It is. For the first time, it tastes very close to some people who've been in business for 100 years.
Nice.
I thought nothing could outdo Bullet, but even though it's not a bourbon, their whiskey really takes note. So and I believe they've got vodka as well.
Yeah, they do a gin, I think.
Yeah, a gin. Yeah. So they got a good offering for just starting out. And that they designed that bar. It is really neat.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah. So they've done a nice job building that out. And like you said, Drew, when he does something, he goes all the way.
Yeah.
And, so that, but Yeah, so that's something. But getting back to the coffee, I know you want to talk about Strohs and hams, but
and now I just want to talk about Manhattans. I made a Manhattan with brandy yesterday.
Oh man!
Yeah, a Branhattan I call it. I mean, I guess that's how they do it in Wisconsin. They do brandy Manhattans.
I don't pay attention to what they do up in Wisconsin much.
But yeah, made a Branhattan yesterday.
Football.
It was
kind
great.
of ignore that.
Yeah. Anyway, back to like my business.
Yeah. So the coffee. Let's talk about the coffee because you see, like what Dark Matter's doing. I mean, it kind of is what's happening in the craft beer industry. Before what, okay, let's go back in time. When the Starbucks ruled the world, and you've got your coffee from the grocery store, and there was no other way to get it. I mean, now you end up with all these different, and people are one thing I am happy to see what's happening. People are concentrating on making sure, particularly roasters, that they're being ethical about their choice in growers. Make sure fair trade, they're paying their people well. And I know
a lot, like especially with Dark Matter, and then people like Counterculture and Intelligentsia, Stumptown, they're doing a lot of direct trade, taking it a step further than fair trade, or even Small Town has a direct trade relationship now in Costa Rica. They're talking to farmers. People here are working with people all over the world to make their farms better, to make their situations better, and it's better for everybody. The farm makes more money, the farm puts out better coffee, the roaster gets better coffee, they put out better coffee, I get to brew better coffee, you get to taste better coffee, and we can all feel good about it because we're paying people in Costa Rica and Ethiopia more money.
Right, and to listen to the ladies from Small Town talk, they're actually going to travel there and visit.
Elizabeth, Annette, take me with you.
Well, yeah. And Kelly would say, book your trip to me.
Yeah.
But, I think that she is trying to convince them to take her along, which probably will happen.
Yeah.
It's a tour guide. But, and actually talking about that, the Costa Rican farm that they're going to see, I guess, is the only female-owned farm in Costa Rica. And that is a challenge in that, first of all, something that the government doesn't touch is interesting. That once they get their hand in it, they want to profit. And then to have a female-run business in Costa Rica, I guess, is quite unique.
Nice.
So there's a multitude levels there. So talking about we're talking about the taste of coffee. Now, I think back to what we all accepted from Starbucks. The burnt tasting coffee and all.
Acrid charcoal.
Yeah, which people seem to like.
I think a lot of people that drink it put a lot of cream in it. Or sugar, or they get a latte where there's again a bunch of milk and sugar, which is fine. I mean, I don't know. Taste is subjective, I guess.
Yeah, I got called out by Liz at one of their get-togethers that they invited us to. I admitted that I put cream in my coffee, and she pointed her finger. No. Okay. Yes.
So there are a few things that people have told me in my culinary career that have really stuck with me. One of those things was when I was working at Three Floors, I was just in the kitchen. I was, I went intern to sous chef to head chef. I think at the time I was a sous chef, and we had Drunk Monk Hefeweizen on. And so all these, this is 2006 or so, and all these people are asking for oranges for their Hefeweizen because everybody's so used to Blue Moon. And, you see a hazy Belgian adjacent beer, and you think I want to put an orange in this. And so all the servers are getting all mad saying, oh, Barnaby, these idiots want oranges in their beer. And he said, well, does the kitchen have oranges? And they were like, well, yeah, but, this is our beer. You don't put anything in beer. And then Barnaby, one of the brewers, had said, look, if these people want to put ketchup in their beer, you let them put ketchup in their beer. It's not up to us to decide how you enjoy. I mean, obviously you want somebody to enjoy your art in the purest form, but if the way you enjoy beer is with ketchup in it, drink your beer with ketchup in it.
You don't
if the way that you enjoy coffee is with cream in it, put cream in your coffee.
Actually, though, I will say, once I have their Costa Rican, when I get their Costa Rican, I don't put cream in it.
Yes.
It is that smooth.
I don't put cream in anything.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that point, but it's almost like you're afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool because you don't. And once I get that bitter taste, I'm I'm not going to drink any more of that.
you know, when you had your first IPA, you know, you thought it was the worst thing you ever tasted. And, you know, and then you slowly drink a couple, like, regular pale ales, and then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, give me the hoppiest thing you got. But, you know, the first time you drink that, like, bitter hop assault, it bugs you out a bit.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with coffee. You just gotta work up to it, and then once you dive in, you're like, oh, this is my life now.
Yeah. And one of the things that has happened recently is the cold brew coffees.
Yeah.
And, well, recently, is it a couple of years?
2 years, yeah. They've been popular for a couple of years.
All right, and that ends up being a more full-bodied coffee because of the way it is. But the thing is, it has a nice curve to it. It isn't bitter or anything. It's just like a nice curve to it. Then add on to that a barrel-aged brew. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That is...
Smugglers out of Lowell is crushing the barrel-aged game.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all the barrel aged that we have at Grindhouse right now is Smugglers.
Smugglers?
Yeah.
Wow. And, you know, I know Skates does his own, Charles.
Oh, yeah. Fluid, yeah.
He is an artiste, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I told you about the time that he created... Because when I lived in Valpo, that was my coffee house.
Yeah.
But I tell you, every coffee house is my favorite coffee house. To be politically, no, actually it is. Every one of you guys have your own neat thing, but they have their own little niche. They support the arts and all. But when I started going there, he knew that I was a beer fan because we ran into each other at breweries. So he's on this quest because he's done it. Develop a beer or develop a coffee that tastes like beer. So, you know, you'd always call up, oh, you know, I've let hops soak in it, blah, 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 and I barrel-aged this, blah, blah, blah. It was getting close and close. Finally, I want to say 6 months ago, he said, Bill, come here, I want you to try this. It smelled like an IPA. I drank it, and this is weird. It tasted like an IPA so much that I said, Chuck, when did you get your license? And he said, no, this is coffee. And I'm like, you guys, and that is, again, all you guys bring your different crafts.
Yeah.
And Chuck, I think, I told him, you ought to just give up the ghost and start brewing beer. I mean, seriously. But it was so weird because I drank a full glass of it, and you're expecting to get that little kick from a beer, and you don't. You get that caffeine.
You feel your eyes opening a little bit.
Yeah. So that was weird to taste, that art form is just, you know, and then and a lot of it's almost becoming like the craft beer industry, following it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the craft beverage industry, you know, between beer, coffee, kombucha, I mean, tea. People are doing it. Yeah,
so looking into the future, where do you see the coffee industry going now, and what effect do you think, like, is Starbucks even, there are people that still go there, but what impact are they having on you guys?
I mean, Grindhouse and SIP are ants, you know, compared to Starbucks. They don't care about us. And they'll always, I don't want to say they'll always be there, but they'll be there, presumably forever. Because people like knowing that you can get the same cup of coffee in Cherville that you can get in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't care about that. I want something different everywhere I go. You know, my wife and I, when we travel, we check the breweries, we check the coffee shops. You know, we want to check, like, the local flavor. We want to eat the local restaurants, but not everybody does. But coffee's tricky. It's grown on a mountain, and as, like, climate changes, like, it's moved further and further up the mountain. So really, coffee's just getting a lot more expensive. A lot of I've talked with some people at roasteries that have talked about. So there are, like, a few different ways to process coffee. You can wash it. You can do, like, a honey process, which is between a wash and a natural. Where the natural, like, the washed coffee uses a ton of water. And then once you've used that water, like, it's useless. Like, you can't return it to, like, potable water anymore. And so a lot of countries, especially like Ethiopia, like less well-off countries, are moving more and more towards more naturally processed coffees, which I love those coffees. Like those are like the really fruity coffees you drink. Like when you drink those coffees where you're like, oh my gosh, is there blueberries in this? Is there raspberries in this? That's the taste of the coffee fruit, like getting into the bean when it's naturally processed. And so a lot of coffee growers are moving away from more washed coffees, which is like the traditional way to process coffee. Like the small town traditional Ethiopian, it's a washed coffee, because that's the traditional way of processing a coffee. And a lot of places are moving away from that to conserve water, and again, moving further up the mountain, conserving water. People are working with Robusta beans, I guess, trying to make cheap coffee taste good.
Oh, yeah. So they add that in as a filler.
And, just because it's so much more hardy, like it can grow so much easier, so much more effectively than Arabica coffee, but it just tastes bad. And so a lot of people, whereas it's just been written off for decades and decades and decades, but a few coffee growers are looking into, okay, can we make Robusta coffee taste great? If we treat it the same way as Arabica coffee, can we make it taste almost as good as Arabica? So that's, from some dude who lives in Griffith, where I think the coffee industry is going.
All right. Well, it's actually because I'm going to make a statement here. Just going, Chuck Skatesby did not allow me to come into Fluid. If you heard me say this, I happen to stop into a Starbucks. It's like 2 people in there, and I go into your place. I come here. I just about a month ago, there's a coffee shop in kind of a neat one in East Chicago. I can't think of the name of it now. We met someone there, but again, it was a locally, just kind of like this in your place, but. I think that's where it's headed. I don't think Starbucks is going to be able to, and they're shutting down locations.
They're shutting down, yeah. Starbucks wants high traffic. Like, in the future, we're going to see more Starbucks in hotels. We're going to see them, in Target.
Yeah.
They're moving out of corners. Obviously, like, the one in Munster was put up, 2 or 3 years ago. They're still going to build some brick and mortars, but I think we're going to see a lot more Marriotts with
combined.
Starbucks.
Yeah, they won't have their own brick and mortar place.
Yeah.
They'll just partner with someone else, and they'll let them pay the big.
Or even I think I think you'll start seeing more just Starbucks drive-throughs.
Yeah.
Because people aren't. You don't go to Starbucks to feel like you're at a coffee shop.
Yeah, I think it's more the name. They go there for the name, and the mocha, the typical stuff that you can get at a Starbucks. But I've not been. One time we stopped in just to get a real quick bite, and because it was the only thing around. Wasn't impressed with
I was
at
at
all.
Was it O'Hare? There was a Starbucks in there, and me and my wife got breakfast there, and it was fine.
Yeah,
but not like when you have somewhere like Grindhouse or Sip. You're gonna get inspired food. You're gonna get people, not just some dude in an office saying, "Oh, we can make this for 34 cents and we can get it out the door in a minute and 45 seconds." Let's do this. People are willing to and able to put more care into it when it's a local business.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I've not had a bad meal at any of your shops.
Thanks.
The Skates, they've got this thing called the Parma Police. It's their breakfast sandwich. Oh my goodness. They almost know when we go in there for lunch. We have it for lunch. And,
the only thing I've had there was the Love Buzz, which I really liked.
Yeah. But they and they really don't. They may have changed it, but they brew. I don't know if one of them has a culinary background or not, but they do a good job, and they do, and they're awfully. But one of the things that people love about them, and you as well, and here, all the coffee shops are extremely supportive of the arts, and the just the things and your offerings that you have, the coffee mugs and stuff that they're really they make a statement for your place. So that's what we feel every time we're in there. So hats off to you guys. You've done a great job. We love it, and it's kind of neat to have all these local owned coffee shops sprout up, and people prefer them now.
Yeah, and there's room for everybody. I tell people all the time, like, my competition's not Trost or Sip or Fluid or Small Town or Windmill Brewing just opened a cafe.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my competition. My competition is Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks. I don't want to take business from Sip. I don't want to take business from Trost. I want to take business from Dunkin' Donuts. I want somebody to realize, like, hey, this Speedway coffee is just hot brown water. Maybe I should get coffee.
True that.
And a lot of people, it might be a slow learn, but 10 years ago, people would have said, like, nah, it's Northwest Indiana. We drink coffee from gas stations. But 20 years ago, you would have said, we're Northwest Indiana. We don't drink fancy beer.
Yeah, it's not like the Seattle, Washington, the turned up nose and coffee places. It's but it is. I tell you, it is something that I've read about a lot. That the more successful businesses are those that grow up and have unique offerings than just mass production. People are looking for more unique taste, more unique, and I see that in this region. Not just coffee shops, breweries, but I don't know if you had a chance to stop by Overstuffed or not. Oh,
no, I have not yet.
My gosh,
I'm at Grindhouse like way too much.
I know. It's not too far away, but oh my, Tim is done. But the thing is, wear your Thanksgiving pants because nothing he does is small. Oh my gosh. And their potato soup is off to it. But I mean, you got places open up like that. He brings his unique offerings and his culinary background, very similar to yours. And he's just this is his statement. We do it big here, and everything is very excellent. And but yeah, that's kind of neat to see all these local businesses flourish. And yet, some of the large companies are having to shut down locations and having a hard time keeping up with the small guy, which is good.
It is good, and it's like really flattering to know that the local business, like my local business, all of these local businesses, like they exist because local people support them, which is thank you.
Yeah, definitely, because your place is always busy when I'm in
wild.
there. It is. I went in there the other day. There was a run club in there, and they were sitting down having their coffee, and that's kind of neat to see that. So, what about the future of Grindhouse? What do you guys have planned? Do you guys have a food truck or?
We've got a food truck. We don't run it often.
Right.
Last year we only ran it like 3 or 4 times, but yeah, we've got that. But we just got so busy at the cafe, we just kind of like put blinders on and focused on the cafe. And then when there were like friends that were doing events, we said, yeah, we'll bust the food truck out for this. Okay. But mostly focused on the cafe.
Now, the food truck, I mean, is that sandwiches and all, or
sandwiches, no coffee?
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about someone that is an event that wants coffee? You guys do.
So we have like big pots we can bring, like big Cambro 4-gallon containers that we've done some coffee in, or we've brought like some warmers to do like hot chocolate, and some of our tea lattes hot. We just did the Girls on the Run 5K a few weeks ago. Oh, cool. And so we had some hot chocolate for that because it was
I think we were there while you were getting ready for that, if I remember correctly.
Oh, you were. Yeah,
we were sitting there.
Yeah, because it was a Sunday, and you guys come in on Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. So
that day was nuts. We were just running around like crazy people trying to get ready to go.
Yeah, it's good. It's business, but it's still, I mean, it's good. So that's cool. So I probably should wrap it up here, but is there anything else you want to talk about with Grindhouse? Anything, any events coming up?
I just want to talk about Stroh's. No, just kidding. We've been doing... We took the last couple months off, but we've been doing a lot of like coffee education things, and we've been doing those once a month, and we're going to get back into the swing of those in January. We had Small Town come and talk about grinding coffee. We've had Smugglers come to talk about barrel aging. We had Counterculture came and talked about the different processes I was talking about earlier, how to process coffee. I'm going to be leading one soon, and so keep your eye out on the Grindhouse page for those. And
Yeah,
we're always putting new specials up, constantly rotating sandwich specials or drink specials. We've always got at least 1 or 2 sandwiches and usually about 5 to 6 seasonal drinks going on.
Awesome.